Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's tutorial we're going to build a very simple project using computer vision. So let me just show these QR codes here. So I have a bunch of QR codes, right? So let me just open up one of these QR codes. Now my aim is to make a computer vision application or a computer vision program that can read these QR codes and then be able to detect them. So whenever we show maybe our QR code is on our phone, whenever we show it to our webcam should be able to detect the QR code, decode it, and present to us the information that is on the QR code that has been stored in the QR code. So this is a very simple application that you want to build. So if you are new to the channel, please kindly consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and hit the notification bell so that whenever I upload videos on computer vision and other tutorials, you guys can get updated. So in the last tutorial, we created a video or created a whole series on how to generate QR codes and to decode QR codes, right, using OpenCV. So in this tutorial, we're going to use another library to go ahead and do the same thing and be able to obtain the information within the QR code. So the QR code will be able to detect the position of the QR code. So we want to draw a bounding box around it, and then from there we'll be able to decode the QR code to get the information within the QR code. So let's get started. So if you're interested in a project to create and generate QR codes, I have a whole series on it, how to build a web application that can generate and decode QR codes, and also how to generate the QR code using a simple Python program as well. So let's get started. So I'm going to keep the link to those videos on the description, also up here, in case if I forget, you guys can remind me in the comments. So let's create a folder. So let me just go to my directory, and if I do an ls, so in the last project we did a face detection. Okay, so in this project we're going to do a QR code project. So I'm going to change my directory into my QR code project. Okay, so I also have my virtual environment activated, so make sure that you have your virtual environment activated. So let's go ahead and see which libraries we'll need for this. So the first thing we'll need to install is this library right here. So I'm just going to copy it, and then I'm going to simply paste it in here. Make sure your virtual environment is activated as well. So make sure that you install pip install Pyzbar, and this is what you're going to use to detect and localize our QR code and then decode it to get the information within it. So I'm also going to go back, and also the other library we need to install is NumPy. So NumPy stands for numeric Python. So we're going to use it in our project. So I'm also going to install NumPy as well. So I'm going to install NumPy as well. So once I have NumPy also installed, I'm also going to go ahead and actually install OpenCV. So I already have OpenCV already installed, but if you don't have it, make sure that you have it installed. So I'm going to install OpenCV as well. So now that I have those three libraries in place, you can begin to code. Okay, so I'm just going to go into my VS Code, and I'm going to create a folder here. I'm going to call it basic _01.py. okay, so in here, just going to decode and read static images. So let's go ahead and actually import all the things that we need. So I'm going to import CV2. So I'm going to import CV2. I'm going to go ahead and import NumPy as np. I'm going to go ahead and also import Pyzbar. I'm going to import decode. So this is what we're going to use to localize the position of a QR code. From. Okay, this is what we're going to use to localize the QR code and decode the QR code. So let me just read in an image. So I'm going to say image, and I'm going to say cv2 cv2.im read. So it's going to read an image. Now you have to specify the path of that email. So I'm going to specify, I'm going to read image _01.png, and image1.png is this image right here I have on my file. So all these images are located, you can find these images on my GitHub page. The link is in the description below. So once I read those images, now I can try to show those images up, but before that I can actually go ahead and actually display those images. So I can say cv2 I am sure, and I can pass and can say image is the name of the window, and then I'm going to specify that image right here, and I can do cv2 wait key, and I'm going to do, sorry, it can be wait key, and I'm going to wait for maybe, let's say 700 milliseconds, 1000 milliseconds. I think it's about a second, right? So if I go back to my terminal and let me try to run this application, so I'm going to do basic _01.py and then try to run that. So it's going to open up the image and show us this QR code right there. So if I run this, I'm getting into this error, right? This is because I forgot one important step that we need to write. So I need to go to Google, and I need to install one more thing. So let me just go back here, and let me go just here. I think it's on pypy.org. I can just find it here. So just go to pyzbar.org and then search for this library called pyz. So if I scroll down here, for Linux we need to do this. Okay, so make sure that you follow all the instruction based on your operating system, but I think for Windows you can just do pip install pyzbar, but if you're on Linux you need to follow this instruction. So I'm just going to clear the terminal and then do this. So I'm going to put in my password. After my password is kept, this is going to go ahead and actually install that for me. Once that is done, I also need to go ahead and actually do this. Okay, I've already done this step, so let me go ahead and also do this step. So this is going to take some time to install, and once that's done, we can go ahead and actually paste in this command right here to install the scripts. So let me just go back in my terminal and then check the progress of that installation. So now that is installed, let me just paste a command to install this other pip install pyzbar, and then we're going to install the script. So this is going to install it for us. So sorry for that, guys. I had installed this on my other machine, which is also a Linux machine, but I forgot. Whenever I came here, I just did a pip install pyzbar. But if you're on Mac OS, the instruction, you have to use homebrew to install, after which you have to do these commands. But if you're on Windows, there's no instructions here on what to do on Windows. But on Windows, I think if you just install this and then followed by this command, we should have that library installed. So hopefully that will fix our error. So now that we have that done, let me just clear the terminal. I'm just going to clear the terminal and simply go ahead and run the script again, and this is going to just simply open up our image and display it in a window called having the name of image that we have specified here. So let's just wait for this to open up. So you can see the window has opened up and just briefly popped up. So you can just increase this, let's say maybe 3 seconds. So let's make it like 3, let's make it like 6 seconds. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to run this one more time. It is going to just open up the window and show us the QR code. So after 6 seconds it should just pop off. Okay, so once you have the QR opened up, so we have the image open up and everything seems to work, what you're going to do is simply go ahead and decode that information. So I'm just going to say print, and I'm going to print decode, which is just what you have just imported right here. You just imported this decode. You're just going to call this function and pass in our image. So this is going to decode the image and print the resulting return output on the terminal. So I'm just going to run this again, and if I run it, you can see we have that information right there. So you have the information that has been stored in the QR code is simply hello world, and then the type is a QR code, the rectangle which you can use to draw bounding boxes, and you also have the polygon information that you can also use to draw bounding boxes. So this is how you can simply decode a QR code. So what has been stored in the QR code is just this information, and we can decode that information. So we can just do a print here. We can do print decode. We can just pass in our image right here. Sorry, pass in that image, and then make sure you close that off, and you get dot data, which is the data field right here. The data field here, we're going to get that data, and then getting that data, as you can see, is followed by a bit, so it is in bytes, so we can decode it. We can just pass in here dot decode, and you can pass in, you can also specify the UTF-8 if you want UTF-8, but if you leave also default Python, I think Python uses UTF-8 by default, so you can also leave this to be blank, but you can pass in that, and then you can go ahead and run the program again. So this is we got an error. Okay, so let me just go ahead and try to see. So this is the information. What you're trying to do is to get .data .decode. So let me just try to get that code. So I'm supposed to loop through all of this, and then I can decode all of that information. I can say let me just loop through. I can say for code in decode, and then I'm going to pass in that image. All that information is going to be stored in there. So for each of those code, I'm just going to pass in here. I'm going to say code, and then I'm going to get the data, and then I'm going to decode that data using a UTF-8. So I can even delete this if I want, and I can go ahead and clear the terminal and run that code one more time, and you can see we get back hello world, and hello world is the information that is stored inside of this QR code. So you can even change the image to be image 2, and let's see what the information is stored in the other QR codes as well. This is stored, this QR code just hold the URL for google.com, and that's all. So great. So now we can do this. I want to open my webcam, and then I want to scan an image of a webcam using live webcam and then decode that information. Okay, so let's get to that part. Let's see how we can do that. So I'm just gonna delete everything of this, each one of this. I'm just gonna I can leave this for now, and then I'm going to delete some. So now that we have that deleted, I can simply go ahead and create a video capture object. I'm going to use cv2.video capture, and I'm going to pass in 2. I'm passing in 2 because that's the ID of my web camera. I have a webcam that I'm using, which is different from my laptop's camera. Okay, so if you have a laptop, I think you have to specify 0 in here, or try to specify 0 and then try to specify 1 to see which one of them works for you. But I have a webcam and the ID for that webcam is 2. That's why I'm specifying a 2 in here. Okay, if you want to get that from a video, then you have to specify the part to that video in here instead of 2. Okay, instead of a string. So now that we have that, I'm going to create an infinite loop. So I'm going to say while true, I'm going to get success, and then the image, and this is going to be cv capture.read. Okay, I'm going to read the image from that capture object, and then I'm going to say if not success means we didn't success in capturing, we're just going to break out of this loop. Else, what we're simply going to do, I can simply go ahead and indent all of this code. What we're going to do, we're going to decode that the QR code and then simply print the information out, and from here I can just pass in 0, which is going to wait infinitely. Or you can also create a key if you want. You can just say if QR code, and then you can say I think 1. Let me just leave this for now. Let me just leave this and just leave this so that I don't confuse you guys. What you're simply going to do is you're going to wait for 1 millisecond and then we'll go to another frame. So that's what you're going to simply do in here. At the end, if you break out, you're going to do cap.release. You're going to release all those resources, just like that. So now that we have this done, what is this simply going to do? Create the capture object, and then instead of the infinite loop, you're going to capture read the frame, and then if it's not successful, you're going to break out of this loop. If it's successful, you're going to decode that specific frame and then print out that information within that specific frame. So great, let's go ahead and try to run this again. So if I run this is going to open up my web camera, which is going to be my camera or my laptop. Okay, which is sorry, I connected a camera to my laptop, so it's going to open up that specific camera. So in your case, if you don't have a webcam, external webcam, then feel free to use the internal webcam that comes with your laptop. So now that my webcam has been uploaded, and I'm just going to point this to my screen here. I have my phone and it has a QR code. So if I try to read the QR code, then let me just position the webcam properly, and you can see it's printing out google.com because this if I load another webcam, it has another information. And let me just try, okay, Google, and then bring back to print. So let me just shift this here, and you can see, so code with prints, I have a stored code in prints in that QR code, and you can see I have Google stored in this QR code, and then I have Helen Thomas also stored in this QR code. So this is how basically it's going to work. So let me just go ahead and actually exit out of this. So I'm just going to exit out of this. So once you can see how you can read a QR code and decode the information, so basically what you're deciding to do, we are reading it, is going to return to us success and the image. So if it's not successful, we're going to break out. Else, we're going to read that QR code's image and simply display that image. Get the information and print it out, and then display that image to the end user. So now that we have that, what something that we can do is that we can actually make this to be a bit more advanced. So what I'm going to simply do in here, once I get this, I don't want to print this out, so I'm going to delete all of this. So once I get the information, I'm going to store it in so I'm going to say decoded underscore data, and the decoded data is going to be the information that you obtain from the decoded data. So instead of that, we can obtain the rectangle field like I showed you earlier on. So if you print out just the code, you can see a field called rectangle field. So I'm going to obtain that field. So I'm going to say rect underscore pt points, and it's going to be code dot rect. Okay. And if you want to know why I'm getting all of this, you can just print out just the code instead of all of this. Just print out the code, and you can see all these parameters specified in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to now check if I'm going to get information. So if let's say if decoded data, if decoded data, so what we're simply going to do is you're going to simply go ahead and do color. We're going to do we're going to specify, let's just do print something else. We're going to cv2 dot we're going to draw a rectangle around that shape. So we're going to use the polygon values to draw that rectangle. So we're going to do we're going to simply say cv2 dot polygon. So let me just get that right, cv2 dot polygon, so I'm going to say polylines. So I'm going to say polylines, and I'm going to specify my polygon, my image here. So I'm going to specify my image, and I'm going to specify my points, and my points are going to be an array. So the points are going to be the following, which is going to be a numpy array. So in here I'm going to create a numpy array just here. So I'm going to say I'm going to say points, and this is going to be they're going to say numpy.array, and then you're going to specify in the following. So I'm going to say code.polygon. So if you print out this code object, you're supposed to get it to show you where I'm getting this parameter called polygon. Okay, and you're going to specify this is going to be a numpy.int of 32. So 32 int 32, just like that. So once we have that done, what you can simply do is you're going to pass in that points right here. So you're going to pass in those polygon points, and you're going to say close. You're going to say it's true, because you expect the polygon area to form a box around the QR code. And you can specify the color, and the color can just be an RGB value, a BGR value, because CV2 uses a BGR value, which is for blue, green, and then red, instead of the RGB value of red, RG, green, and then blue. So green and blue and red have been interchanged. So I'm just going to specify the BGR code in here. Let's use I think we can use green 255, and I can leave the others to be 0, 0, just like that. So once you have that, you can specify the thickness. I think you can specify the thickness, and the thickness you can just use 3. So once I have that, it's going to draw a box around this. So if you have a data, in case there's any data detected, it means there's a QR code, and I'm going to create an array or containing the code polygon, and I'm going to use that to draw a line using the polylines. So once I have that done, I'm just going to go ahead and actually execute the code one more time. So I'm going to execute the code. So now that we have the webcam open, I'm just going to bring the webcam right here, and I'm going to point it to my QR code. So you can see it's drawing a box around that with a blue color. So you can see that blue color around the QR code, because they're using the BGR scheme. So you can see that the color being detected. So if I move the cam web away, and if I move it back, you can see the green color being detected. You can see the the QR code being detected, and you have a bounding box around it. So what I want to do right now is try to get the information out of that bounding box. So let me just go ahead and actually exit out of this right now. So I'm going to exit out of this. Just press Ctrl+C on the keyboard. So once that's done, once that's done, I can just clear the terminal, and then I can do something else. I want now to show the information, the decoded information on the QR code. So I want to simply do a CV2 put text. So I'm going to put some text on it. So put text, and I'm going to put text on that image, and then I want to get the text, and the text is going to be str, and I'm going to put decoded data, just like this. I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to specify now where it should be. So I'm going to use the rectangle positions rather than the actual polygons, because whenever I turn my camera around, I don't want that text to be changing depending on the position. I want the text to always be visible, not maybe upside down, maybe not twisted left or right. So I don't want that. I want the text to always be visible in a right way that I can read it. That's why I'm going to be using direct position. So I'm going to say direct points, and I'm going to get the first index. So I'm going to pass in index 0, and then I'm going to now specify the direct point again. This is going to be the starting point of our text, and this is going to be 1. So once I have that there, I can now pass in the font. So I can say cv2 dot font, and I can use this is going to be cv2 dot font, and I'm going to use that font. I can use any font you want, and I'm going to put the font scale is going to be 1, and then the color I'm going to be using the same color as it. So it will be blue color, 255 by 0 by 0. So we can actually make this to be green. So it's going to be 0, and then this should be 255, and this to be 0, and this should be 255, and that to be the BGR, so green. Okay, that to be a green color. So I can specify the thickness. I can say the thickness to be maybe thickness, let's say thickness is 2. So now if you run this again, it's going to not only show us the QR code, the bounding box, but also going to put the text on the QR code in a way that you can see, and that's why we're using the rectangle positions that we obtain right here. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and actually try this out. So I'm just going to go into my terminal. go into my terminal and then run the code again. So this has opened up my webcam. So I'm just gonna bring my webcam to my phone. Let me just open up my phone here, and then I bring the webcam close to it. So if I bring the webcam to, you can see google.com is being stored in there. So you can see using the rectangle positions, the text is not twisted. So if I just scroll, I can see the information stored in there is code with prints in this QR code. And if I scroll on this side, it's Helen Thomas. So you can see the information in there has been properly decoded and revealed to us, and also the bounding box has been drawn around this. So this guys, this house is very simple to read a QR code images. Use OpenCV and Pyzbar to read QR code images and decode those QR code images. So you can use this for building the various systems, such as systems where people need to pass the ID, maybe on the camera, and then the gates open or something like that, depending on whether they are registered in the system or not. So this is a very simple project, and thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Keep safe. If you haven't yet subscribed, kindly consider subscribing to the YouTube channel to get more videos and updates. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.